Warning, this review will contain spoilers, and if you haven't seen the episode in the last 4 days and decide to go past this point, it's your own fault, so don't get mad at me.
Yay!
An episode surrounding Luna and Celestia? This could be some very juicy stuff indeed. Will it lead to a good episode? There's only one way to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pones N Stuff. Slice of life episodes in MLP can live and die by the characters involved with them. Sometimes those casting choices can be thrilling and fun, while others can make an episode mind-numbingly boring and tepid, or much like last week's, act as a middle ground between them. So by that logic, if you were to put Luna, Celestia, Starlight and Twilight into an episode together, what would you expect the quality of the resulting episode to be? The answer is simply excellent, and I do not mince my words one bit, because everything this episode did pretty much hit a home run, and that's a rare feat to say the least. So logically, the only question I must ask myself is where the hell do I start with this thing? I guess with the characters themselves. Celestia and Luna's fighting and Starlight and Twilight's bickering all overlapped comprehensively well as the tone of comedy, drama and action seamlessly flowed between them to take you all on an emotional thrill ride, starting modestly and slowly as the seeds of conflict were sown to have it blossom into an intense climax that shocked many at home watching, while having me laugh my arse off with some lovely visual gags, facial expressions and quips in between. We started off laughing, then empathizing, and then finally understanding as it all came together structurally without a jarring break in proceedings. It was a great journey, helped in thanks to the episode taking its time in not rushing things, allowing the pace to progress naturally throughout these assorted conflicts to ensure the message and morals about jealousy and misunderstanding, as well as a lack of trust and going with your beliefs, developed alongside them to great effect, not leaving a stone of introspection unturned as we saw into these characters with unabashed clarity. A walk in another person's shoes story and message could have easily been infantilized and simplified. Just look at the over-the-barrel palaver from season 1 if you know what I'm talking about. But thanks to some mature writing, it didn't feel tired but fully alive and quite refreshing as it utilised the characters' histories and mannerisms to sell it for us, rather than bluntly forcing mundane dialogue on our ears. It was an episode that took you through the lives of the royals and showed you their true colours, full of contempt and love all within measure, while student and teacher butted heads along with them. They played their cards well with these established conflicts and squeezed every ounce of potential for development and progression out of them, and I'll tell ya, it worked wonders in making this episode have a really nice atmosphere, and it was just joyous to see. Not just that, thanks to some passionate and diverse vocal performances, lovely animation across the board, and some subtle but fantastic music in the background, it all came together so fantastically well that it's difficult for me to find fault, and being so hyperbolically positive in a review is rare for me. But when I saw this episode on its first viewing, it blew my mind and left my jaw on the floor, which meant when it came to analysis, you can fully understand why I'd still be thinking that. What else is there needed to be said? This episode pretty much got everything right. While all seemed well as this episode steamrolled its way to success, it is not 100% perfect. But after you consider the fact that it had a montage scene, an action-filled battle scene, funny moments galore, intense emotional character development, and Twilight Sparkle as a music box ballerina, what in the blue hell could have stopped this episode from becoming only the second perfect scorer in this show's history by my rating scale? Well, unfortunately, the story is to blame for that, ruined by one major plot hole. Answer me this, why would Celestia have no knowledge of the Dream Realm even though she had to take over Luna's duties for 1,000 years? I understand why she was so cocksure about raising the moon, having done it many a times throughout the centuries. That at least makes sense, I understand that. But why would she balk at looking after dreams being easy? Shouldn't she have done it before? Seriously, did Celestia not do that job on purpose and let her subjects suffer in their nightmares just to ease her workload, which we already had her complaining about here? Was it something that Luna commenced with after she was freed from banishment, to make her value be seen as equal to her sisters, just to ensure that they didn't fight again? And even more amazingly, outside of raising the moon, what did Luna do before her banishment to make Celestia believe she had it easy this time around? Especially if she didn't even know what depth the Dream Realm held. It's all really confusing, and when you couple that with the lack of explanation for Twilight's ability to stay in the Castle of Friendship but also become a ballerina on a music box, I love that despite how crazy it is. The story all around therefore lost polish that its pace, tone and story of sibling rivalry, workplace jealousy and mind over matter choices had, and it just falls on its face. It may have only come away with minor scratches as a result, but when you leave the episode questioning the loyalty of Equestria's most revered royal, it highlights that there are still some things in the story of her to be answered for, and without those on display, this episode will, as a result, not score what I believe it could have gotten. Regardless though, I came out of this episode feeling overjoyed and happy, because it reminded me what I love the most about this show, that they have episodes that are as laughter-filled and carefree on one end, while also being intense, dramatic and action-packed on the other. I mean, sure, all I needed was a musical number and I would have had my triforce of elements to make a perfect episode out of it, but hey, I couldn't be more happy than what I got, because it all tied together as a package to be pretty damn awesome, and, in my case, nigh on flawless, as overall the characters and their conflict and their story around them played out really well. They weren't rushing things, there was a genre diversity that was done flawlessly, not just in the thematic sense, but in the musical sense as well. The animation was lively and restrained when it needed to be, and the voice acting was superb. I mean, when I look at this episode, and its highly anticipated billing, it all pretty much went without a hitch. And seeing a quarrel between two of the most pristine royal family members, I've gotta say, I thought it could have fallen on its arse, but it came out looking pretty damn good. Except for one major plot hole that does indeed blemish an almost perfect outing for this show to deliver. This is what I want to see more of, and even with that problem, I can say I am not going to see an episode this season that comes anywhere close to it. Overall, A Royal Problem scored a total of 24 out of 25, which is an A. And as you can probably tell, it's the best episode of the season thus far. I didn't think that All Bottled Up would ever be topped in this season, so to have this happen is a surprise to me, despite what many people would have thought. Not just that, Joanna Lewis and Christine Sonko, you two know what to do when it comes to an episode dealing with a character relationship. Especially if it has Starlight Glimmer involved. If you two are writing her episodes in the future, I want to know about it and I can't wait to see it. Because you know how to drive conflict and have immense depth and emotional character development in the process. And I want to see more of that, please. Unfortunately though, after 3 episodes in this first half of the season receiving A grades before the hiatus, I honestly don't know what to expect from here, because the season could take a massive downturn anytime soon. I don't want that to happen, but you never know, it could. We've reached the pinnacle, so logically all should be going downhill from here. And seeing as next week's episode is the last one before the summer hiatus, I am praying that that's actually a decent one, because if it isn't, my premonitions may become reality. I have been Freddie Thomas, you've been people watching. This has been another episode of Pones N Stuff for the CC Network, and I will see you all next time.